All right, this morning, what I'd like to cover is because introduction and the virtual demo for CG cutting Proto series from Mimaki. So as you know, the Mimaki is one of the oldest innovator of a sign graphics application cutting Proto in the world. So I'd like to not only a product explanation, but a history of core cutting technologies and the difference between each cutting products for the spec and what can be done. Also cutting software. I'm not gonna do the details of operation this morning, but I know it is things to know that there are how many types of cutting softwares and what's the method of communication with cutting product from the PC. Okay, to begin with, we just have the quite big the update of a product for the cutting product. So we kind of transition from old machine to new machine. So I'd like to explain the different model, current model, also what the upgrade involves. We basically have a 3 different range of a cutting product. I numbered 1, 2, 3. The first one is the desktop cutter. The number next to contents is 500 to 600 per unit a year. It's not how many units Mimaki is selling in Australia and New Zealand, but it's a total market size of a desktop cutting product in Australia and New Zealand. So every year between 500 to 600 units of a desktop cutting product. It's excluding a cricket cutting product like a $500 or $800, but it's between $1,000 to the $2,500. The industrial desktop cutting product, how many it's been trading in Australia and New Zealand. Second, small size standalone. So it is a standalone cutting product on the leg, but we still have the 30-inch size, which is a CG75 FX2 Plus. And the third, the product is the wide format, which is above 130 centimeters and standalone. So the machine is on a stand as a standard. This market, in Australia and New Zealand, we have 300 to 350 units per year. So we recently, we will make a transition in June 2022. We're going to have a new product available for desktop and entry range standalone wide format, which is a CG60AR series. So we currently selling CG60SR3 series for last 10 years. And we're gonna upgrade, we're gonna change the model to the AR series. As well as the CG130SR3, the low-end, low-cost, wide format cutting product, we changed to CG130AR. CG FX2 Plus series has been released in 2020 January. It's about 2.5 years ago, and it was very successful model. And I know that we don't have a plan to upgrade those yet. All right. So having said that, we basically have the those product for industrial cutting products from small formats to a wide format range. Just a little bit of a history of Mimaki's cutting product technology innovations. So we released the world first entry range cutting product with swivel knife, which the product name is MF220C. So basically for this range, you can see on the right-hand side, this is the desktop flatbed. So it's not like a continuous roll fed printer, the cutting product, but it has already the technology with swivel knife, which we have a current the cutting product model as a base technology. A year later, we released the second model, which is a roll feeding cutting product, CG60 and 90, which is a very base model of the roll fed cutting product we have. Also, we duplicate the technology into apparel paper cutter. For the apparel paper cutter, you need a specific technology, besides the normal graphic the vinyl cutting technology. So we basically have a different technology in a different model for the AP series, apparel paper series. On the 7 years after, we released the very basic lower cost cutting Proto model, CG61 and 101. This is the base model of CGSR series. We're going to have the low end model. Besides the high accuracy model of FX series. So there are still, the customer in Australia. I think there is still, probably, the 20 to 30 customers still, arrive for the, this model, after about 28 years passed since the release, because it's, cutting Proto is like a microwave. It never breaks unless you train to break. So there's lots of customers still using this model. 1998, high accuracy cutting Proto, the CG130EX series has released. This is the base model of CGFX series. So since then, we basically divided the model for two types. One is high-end and high accuracy, high-speed cutter, and other one is the low-end and low-cost cutting Proto. For high-speed cutter is basically FX model. Low-cost cutter is S something model, and we have now AR series. So the side of the high-speed cutter FX model, we've got the current technology from 2003, the high speed and accuracy. It's like cutting technology, never becomes the beyond like inkjet printer, like a different ink technologies and so on. It's like a small changing is happening in every different model. So since FX was released in 2003, we have FX2 from 2008. But what has been changed? This is FX model. This is FX2 model. Only the difference is outfit color change, because we used to have JB3 model, which is a pink or purple outfit machine. So we have a similar outfit on FX series, but FX2 series was released together with JB33. So JB33 has like the silver or gray outfit, so it's got the same color of outfit. But other than that, technology and the cutting accuracy speed has not changed since then. On 2020, we've got FX2 Plus model. Again, it's still a minor change after 12 years of the history. So it's got a different color of the cover on the side, which is close to JB300, the printer model. But as an advantage, we have innovated. We have designed ID cut function on FX2 Plus series. So you can do seamless print and cut with a barcode function, which we're gonna cover this afternoon. For the low end side, what we've got is the in the 1998 we have CG60ST model, and after launching of this model, it's been sold like a nightmare. So in Australia, I believe there is still 100 to 150 customers using this. We basically, we consistently, get a call from a customer. Hey, I've got a CG60ST for about 20 years, and then the pinch roller to replace those small items. Unfortunately, pinch roller works for every cutting Proto the same. So we need to support. We need to at least supply that because we have a parts available. But we always asking them, hey, we don't know that the if a part you need for next time is available, so please consider upgrading. But I think this range of the $2,000, $2,000 to $2,500 range of a cutting Proto. People think that they can just buy something quickly in one day, so they're not considering to replace until it actually breaks. Anyway, on 2006, we've got the two models that released as separately, CGSR and CGSL. The only difference on these two models is one is $500 cheaper, but it doesn't have the mark sensor, so it only works for the printing. And SR series, which has a mark sensor, works for print and cut. So you can detect crop mark from a printing result from any printer to cut. 2013, we have current CG60-130SR series released. And one of the big impact for the market is Mimaki now has the low-cost wide format model 130SR3. So till then, we only have a high-end expensive model with the FX series. 130FX series, 130FX model costs about $7,500. So customer only had a choice that either buying a $2,000 of the 60 centimeters desktop or buying a $7,500 of standalone. But from 2013, we now have a choice of buying around $4,000 of a standalone cutting plotter, which is CG130SR3. So it has actually made a big impact for the market. On 2020, finally, we've got a replacement for SR3 series. We've got CG60 and 130 AR series. We're gonna go through to the difference for these machines from next page. The reason we are away from name of S, because we continued ST, SR, SL, SR3, but now we put AR. The reason is because Mimaki has not been able to become innovative, leading manufacturer till today. So since Mimaki has the the most frequency of the the product upgrade, product innovation replacement. However, our global market share is pretty low for this cutting plotter range because other players really working aggressively. So the putting A as our another start of the so A is the first letter of the alphabet A B C D E F G. So we put A as our next start of the innovation to the market. All right, going through the difference between cutting plotter products. Since SR3 is taken over by AR series, I'm not showing real, the spec for AR series, but anything which has blue letters, blue words in the list is what's been changed from previous model. So from left side we have CG60 AR cutter, 130 AR cutter. CG160 FX2 Plus cutter. So FX2 Plus model, we still have a smaller range, 75 and 130, but we're gonna put only 160 size because only the size is different. So just coming from the top, the maximum cutting pressure, the all supports 500 grams, as a default. It is pretty important for a customer, having this capability to increase to half kilograms of the pressure. So Summa and Graphtec is always new as the highest gram force in the market, but then we now achieve to what they provide. So I think Roland is the same. CG60 AR3, well, the SR3 before AR already supported 500 grams. But the FX2 Plus series, comparing it to previous FX2 Plus model, it only supported 400 grams. Now we support 500 grams. Maximum media size, even machine size says 60, 130, and 160 centimeters. We actually supporting much wider media than what the machine name is. 60 AR supports 740 millimeters. This is because the one of the popular media size for print and cut, the print and cut media for heat transfer, binary transfer application, from the global brand, national brand, they have a specifically 740 millimeters model. The machine only cuts to 620 mils. However, you can at least set up the size of the vinyl, the transfer vinyl of 740 millimeters. The reason 130 series and 160 series supports 15% wider the media is because print protection film application. So the people doing a vehicle wrapping, they also have a demand for cutting a paint protection film. Not only the wrapping the vinyl, but also protecting the default painting in their application. Actually, the vehicle wrapping guy has should make more money, more profit with the paint protection film comparing to vehicle wrapping, because the film is pretty the less expensive. And they can just cut and they can sell like easily $2,000 to $3,000 per vehicle, only putting this paint protection film. Also, paint protection film is it's reattachable. So if you put the position mistake, you can easily peel it off and put it back to the the correct position easily without any waste of the media. So anyway. So for paint protection people in general, paint protection film is coming with the the little bit wider the size comparing to 1370 millimeters for the wrapping film. It comes as 1500 millimeters, a little bit 10% wider, because it's just how the paint protection film is supplied for the purpose. 160 size in comparing to 1620 millimeters of a vinyl film, the paint protection film comes in 1820. So we support at least putting a media of that size into a cutting proto. Even cutting range is just as the machine name is 160 the 1620 or 1370. Regards to ID cut barcode reading for a seamless print and cut function, all series supports. However, the previous model SR3 and CGFX2 model didn't support. So it is, now supporting, which is, one thing pretty important is about, the third rows from the bottom, kiss and half cut in one job, right? So what it is if you have a sticker sheet, sticker sheet to print and cut. So you basically want to do a kiss cut on a sticker around the sticker, but you want to seed cut with a die cut or half cut on the cutting proto. When we had the ID cut on FX2 Plus, the people was trying to do the print and kiss cut and half cut. However, kiss cut and half cut needs to be in a different position for the because of the how the FX2 Plus series comes two stripes of cutting stripe. One is a rubber stripe, one is a sponge stripe. So you need to change the position of the blade from front to back to front in order to switch over. So hence the reason why we can't do one job for two layers, but you need to send a job separately to do this. But now CG130AR is able to do, has only one rubber stripe, and you can just send the job as a command, the kiss cut and half cut as a different cut condition, but in the same layer. So machine can do the kiss cut and half cut for sticker sheet application in one job. So that's why it's important having the ID cut on AR model, because you can do seamless the print and kiss cut and half cut in one job. Maximum cutting speed as a spec, AR series is maximum 70 centimeters. FX2 Plus is 100 centimeters. It's about 40%, 40, 50, 60% faster. However, for generic setting for the self-adhesive vinyl, the people normally use 30 centimeters sec for AR series, which is previously SR3 model, and FX2 Plus is 60 centimeters, right? Not only a speed difference, speed is only twice differences. However, for actual cutting, more than the speed on the spec, the acceleration capability, cause the difference of the speed more, because there is not too many people just doing a straight line like like this. But everyone is just trying to do the like kind of spike or circle or stars and those things. So which means that the cutting proto needs to start and stop, start and stop, start and stop, start and stop. So that's why more than the speed number, the acceleration capability is more important for duplicating the speed. So FX2 plus is actually has the the fastest number of the acceleration in a spec in the market. So basic the feeding speed of a the cutting output speed, the CG160 FX2 plus cannot be compared with second to none. So it's pretty fast by having acceleration capability. The tracking accuracy, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. One question is the pinch rollers. It says 3 adjustable pressure. Is it the pressure can be adjusted on the pinch roller, or is it in the menu?
On the pinch roller.
On the pinch roller, because
there's a mechanical levers on the back side of a pinch roller.
Because one of the problems I've got when I'm cutting with the CJV, if it's a small piece of heat transfer vinyl, the vinyl moves during the cutting process, sometimes moves, and the pinch roller doesn't hold it strongly.
I see. Well, I think the problem is that even you've got 700 or 600 mil of the media, but you set all the pinch rollers as using a 7 or 6 or 7 pieces of pinch roller. But you've got only 3 pinch rollers on the media. So machine knows that it's using a high pressure for both sides, which is number 1, number 7. But all the middle one is a low pressure. But if you've got only 3 pinch rollers on the media, it's got high and low pressure. So if you've got a different pressure on both sides of media, it skews easily. So in that case, you need to tell the machine, after you detect the media, how many pinch rollers on the media. You need to select just how many pinch rollers on the media, like a 3 or 4 or maybe 2.
Yep.
That way, when the machine goes to change from a print to cut, it will change the the pressure pinch roller pressure manually, because CJV3s automatically, because CJV3s change the pinch roller pressure automatically with a lever by machine side, by having information from software.
Okay, so I'm sorry, my question was irrelevant because it was about the print and cut, but it was I just remembered maybe this pinch roller also is adjustable on CJV, so it's not manually adjustable on CJV.
Yeah, it's not manual. So well, there's a lever in front side of the pinch roller on CJV or UCJV, but then that should never be adjusted by hand, because the machine always remember where the position is and works as is. So
okay, thank you.
That's okay. Tracking accuracy, this is what it means is the how long on the front to back direction the cutting proto supports the accuracy of a distance. So hold on, let me just correct this one. There is a maximum 2 meters guarantee accuracy for AR3s, but FX2 plus supports 10 meters. I'm going to tell you what it is. Well, it's not like 10 meters really goes to a 10.00000 meters, but you can still make the minimum accuracy for cutting 10 meters. It's not like a 3 or 4 centimeters. That's a big differences. But in the 2 pages later, I've got some photos of the the testing. So I'm going to explain you that. For crop mark detection, yes, all Mimaki cutting proto supports crop mark detection, so you can do print and cut. Kiss and half cut, I've explained that. Number of the pinch roller. Yes, number of the pinch roller, normally as big the machine size goes up, you have more pinch rollers. However, on CG60AR, we used to have the SR3 model has 2 pinch rollers, but now we've got 3 pinch rollers on 60 centimeters desktop cutter. The reason is because we need to support a new application with AR series. We're supporting a package and a paper craft application, which using the the card stock, the thicker or not non-flexible the paper stock. So in order to feed straight for those medias, we support the additional pinch roller to feed the media through as a straight. The 130 AR supports, has 3 pinch rollers, same as the previous model. The machine also supports the paper package and paper craft application with different optional item. I will explain that in the next the page after. FX2 Plus is purely for the flexible seat and vinyl cutters, so it's enough with a 4 pinch rollers. For die cut support for cutter packaging and craft, yes, 60 AR and 130 AR does support the die cut. The die cut is basically, it's not a kiss cut, it's not a half cut, but it's purely just cutting through the the paper, through completely. It's not recommended to do without the optional item for the packaging application, because what's going to happen is that if you just cut through the object, once it goes off while it's continuously cutting, the media just jammed underneath of the pinch roller. So you always need to select the half cut in order to do a sticker. So after you do the half cut, the object still remains on the media until you pinch out. I'm going to tell you this in the next page as well. All right, the next page, just explaining what's the benefit for barcode reading ID cut. Well, the Mimaki is not only a manufacturer doing ID cut, but Summa also does the ID cut, maybe GraphTech as well. So you need to have a specific software to print a barcode and to transfer the barcode to the RIP software. The cutting software to cut as a data recognition. How the Mimaki ID cut work is because ID cut only works between Mimaki printer and the Mimaki cutter. The workflow is much easier than the using the Summa cutting Proto or GraphTech, which you might need the different RIP software. Before we go into what's the details, I can tell you that as a conclusion of these benefits, ID cut function enables you to automate 50 meters of whole vinyl roll to pre-print and take up the roll and just go to cut and cut continuously without any operator, so unattended. So you can do during the daytime, you will just print a 50 meters and took up. Before you leave an office or before you leave a print shop, you can just put in a cutting Proto and set up the media and read the first barcode, the first region mark and barcode, and it continuously cuts next barcode with the automatic transition of the cutting data. All right, let me tell you the details. So, there are 3 benefits using ID cut. One is the Autocad data export. So, ID barcode is recognizes the the number of the data which is stored in the cutting server, which we call a cutting link, which is the cutting the buffer server besides the raster link. Right, so the cutting Proto always communicate between the machine and the cutting link. When it reads the barcode, it automatically pulls the data from cutting server. As long as the PC is working, as long as the cutting Proto is working, it does it, and it's just to start start cutting the data. So you need to go to cutting Proto to detect region mark, go to PC to send the data, and go to cutting Proto to detect the next one, and so on. So you just leave detecting first region mark, first barcode, and it does automatically to find the barcode and to export data from from cutting server. So it is pretty easy to manage the cutting data. Auto cut data rotation. What it is the ID is automatically printed from raster link in the 4 corners of the print. So when you have the morning guy printed, afternoon guy comes in to cut and doesn't know which direction it was printed, no worries about it. It has each direction, but it has each direction information on 4 corners of 4 corners of ID. So by the direction you set up the media for cutting, it reads the barcode in a specific the direction information, and it automatically loads the data from cutting link. All right, so it helps to avoid a mistake by 2-shift workplace. The morning guy for print and afternoon guy for cut. The last one is auto search next job. I think this is the biggest functionality of ID cut. So having the ID cut function, the enable on these, the supported product. It has a menu to automatically search a next mark, next ID. So previously, we only can, the continuously cut if you've got the same data cut A, like this, and you tell to the computer how many copies you have, and you just send 4 copies, and it cuts 1, 2, 3, 4, the same data. But for this auto search next job, the auto scanning for next ID, even you've got a different data cut 1, 2, 3, 4, sometimes 6, 10, something doesn't matter. As long as the you set position of the barcode in simultaneously in the similar position, and you set the length of the scanning, the searching in a specific distance, then after it's finding and cutting fast data, it starts scanning the next mark automatically. And even the next data is totally different data, there's no problem. You can the cutting plot automatically pulls out the necessary data from cutting server. Regards to tracking accuracy of a cutting Proto, sometimes people seriously looking at the tracking accuracy. Sometimes people does the whole graphic for the the side net of the vehicle for for the truck. Maybe it goes to 2 to 3 meters easily. So what it does is the if you test without any adjustment, machine is unpacked and do a straight line from front to back, straight cut from front to back, what's the accuracy? On FX2 Plus model, if you send a 2 meters long cut, it comes up only 1 millimeter difference, 1 millimeter discrepancy. If you do 3 meters long cut, it's discrepancy for 2 millimeters. 5 meters long cut, it's only 2 millimeters. So look at this accuracy of this, and comparing to the other manufacturer, Mimaki has the best accuracy ever.
Yeah, I think Tomo, just on that one, I think in the Roland side of things, that can be quite dramatic compared to what we have there. They can be up to 10 mil out in those particular lengths. So
yes, that is right. From our testing, let me show you our testing result, which is available in the portal. Yes. Yes, I guess this one. Right, even in the, sorry, this is a comparison with the GS24 and the CGSR3. Even GR2 series from Roland, they always say that it's up to 0.1 millimeter out of 10 centimeters or something. They always show better accuracy than Mimaki. However, if you just
it's only over, I think, like 1 the accuracy guarantee on their machine from memory was well under ours. It's well under 2 meters.
Yeah, if you do 2 meters cut with the GS24, it's off for 6 millimeter. And if you cut 3 meters, it's off for 9 millimeters. All right, comparing to our SR3 series, which is the same as AR series. For AR series, still off for about 5 millimeters, right? However, what's benefit with Mimaki is Mimaki cutting plotter has functionality. Even if you don't like a 1 millimeter or 2 millimeters discrepancy from this, you are still able to adjust. Customers is still able to adjust. If you set a distance correction from the menu, from the end user level, even long cut of 5 meters can be cut perfectly. Description in the user manual. Same thing as 130 AR. So it's got a 4 meters or 4 millimeters or 6 millimeters of a discrepancy for 2 meters and 3 meters cut. However, if you do the specific distance correction AR series, AR model, you can actually avoid the discrepancy for the 0 millimeter. Because it really depends on what type of the binary you have. If there is if a binary thickness is changed for 10% from 0.2 mil to 0.3 mil, definitely it causes the distance discrepancy. But you can still adjust to the 0 if you want to. Regards to supporting the die cut. Okay, before we start about the die cut, before we start talking about die cut, I wanna just clarify the definition of a cutting type. We normally have 3 cutting types for our cutting plotter technology, including flatbed, normal cut, which I normally call kiss cut. The normal cut is to cut only the half layer of the vinyl, which to cut adhesive layer of the vinyl, but still remains the the liner layer as is. We've got the die cut. The die cut is to cut the media completely through the adhesive layer and liner layer, the back paper layer. The half cut, which people may call this as a perf cut, perforate cut, which half cut is for sticker cutting application for roll-to-roll cutting plotter. So it only cuts out completely in the portion, and it remains a tab on the middle, and it cuts off again. So it's like it's doing a sewing cut. In that case, for the sticker, while before you finish cutting the job, the sticker remains on the media, so it won't do a media jam while it's cutting on the plotter. And after that, you can just punch out. All right. So before we had an AR series, we only support normal cut, which is for the adhesive layer, or half cut to remain the tab on the vinyl between the sewing cut. But from AR series, we start supporting a die cut. Right? The die cut works for the additional paper craft and packaging application. So most of our people in the market does do those signage applications, stickers, labels, pops, iron sheet, rubber sheet, pen plotting, window signs, and wall signs, wall graphics. Right? But the new AR series, by having capability for die cut, you are able to do the packaging and the paper craft, which needs a die cut, small cut for the die. Not a half cut, to do those applications. I'm going to tell you that how it's being capable to do. Not only a cutting plotter is strong to cut through the die cut on a sheet. However, we have a specific items to support the AR series for paper craft and packaging application. So we've got additional items to support papercraft and package application AR series. We have 4 different items available as either optional or consumables. First is seat table. The seat table works for the packaging or papercraft media to feed back and forth as straight, not like roll fed or flexible. So it works as the flatbed feeding. Besides that, we have a cutting sheet supported. Cutting sheet is you put the actual packaging or cardstock on, and it has an adhesive layer of on the clear material. So basically, you put the packaging paper onto this flexible protection paper, the cutting sheet. In that way, after you do a die cut, the object won't move, but it's easy to peel off after cutting. So it's a consumable. It comes with 2 pieces with $200. So one sheet is up to A3 size. So you can put up to A3 size paper. And this actual sheet is up to what? A little 10 centimeters more than the 10 centimeters longer than the actual packaging paper. But by having those optional items, you are able to, the feed forth and the feed forward and backwards, the straight with a flat. And the cut object, even a small cut object, stays on the adhesive side of the cutting sheet. To do a packaging application, you need a creasing tool because you need you need a cut through die cut and creasing for the somewhere to fold the the line. So the machine also supports the 2 layers cut. So after you cut the layer, the machine pauses automatically. So you can change from a knife to a creasing tool and hit enter to do rest of a creasing layer. The cutter for heavy paper works for the cutout. So if you've got the cardstock, which is pretty heavy duty, you can't cut with the normal, the vinyl blade, the standard vinyl blade from a cutting Proto. So you need to buy the the heavy paper cutter. So those 4 items works for doing a paper craft and packaging application. Not only those items, however, as a basement, CG60AR, of course, 130AR series, supports additional pinch roller, so which has a 3rd pinch roller in the middle of a 1st and 2 pinch rollers here. So it can hold a heavy duty sheet more stably, so it won't skew easily. As always, Mimaki has the adjustable pinch roller. Pressure. Individual pinch roller can be adjust pressure or lift up and down. So if you even for CG60AR model, if you are doing just a vinyl cutting, you can lift up the pinch roller on the middle, because if you put a pinch roller on the the down, it will leave a little it will leave a small the tracking mark of the roller on the vinyl. So you can easily lift up from the back side of a pinch roller. So only hold both sides of a vinyl to do the job. But if you change from vinyl job to a packaging job, you can instantly enable the middle pinch roller to hold with the 3 positions in order to feed straight. All right, let's go back to this page, software and interface regards. So having those 3 the products, CG-SR3, which is obsolete with last stock, the new AR series, FX2+. The cutting interface supported, unless CGFX Plus only support USB 2.0. The other SR3 and AR series does support both USB 2.0 and Ethernet. If you are connecting from Windows Windows OS through Adobe Illustrator or the Simple Cut, Simple Pop, those are standalone software. You can use both interface. But USB 2.0 from Mimaki only supports for Windows. If you have a design software in a Macintosh, and if you want to connect from Mac OS to a cutting Proto, either you need to use Ethernet or you need to use the RS232C serial port, which you need the USB converter, USB to serial converter to buy from market, and connect from that adapter to cutting Proto as a RS232 cable. So you cannot directly connect from Mac OS to cutting Proto via USB because our USB driver doesn't support Mac OS. Software, we just have a I just have a 3 level of software explanation because it's just depends on if customer wants something professional or something simple. Let's go from professional. The software for Adobe plugin, it requires Adobe Illustrator license at customer. So customer needs to have Adobe Illustrator, needs to know how to operate it basically. All cutting Proto from Mimaki does come with a fine cut software bundled. But here I would like to attention for you that CGSR3 comes with a fine cut 8. CGAR comes with fine cut 9. CGFX2 Plus comes with fine cut 9. This is because of the software, the license reason from headquarters to software provider. We needed to keep bundling a fine cut 8 to CGSR3, which sounds fine. But what it is that these days, the most of our laptops, the Note PC does not come with the disk drive, but fine cut 8 comes as disk. And even you can download, the fine cut 8 installer from a website. You need to enter the disk to the disk driver in order to verify your license, which is a proof of you bought a fine cut with, the CGSR3 with fine cut. So this process is currently, really painful for some craft customer, according to some of our dealers. Now, finally, even that we have fine cut 9 can be downloaded from website, and you can generate a license from fine cut 8 disk to fine cut 9. But again, you need a disk drive to generate a fine cut 9 serial key. So you must have the disk driver in order to do something with fine cut 8. So which was a big pain for some customers market. But now, luckily, the new machine with AR, we have fine cut 9, which does not require any disk. You can just download installer from website. You've got 6 digits of serial key in the package. You can just activate online or offline easily. And somehow FX2 Plus already comes with fine cut 9, which serial key in the package, so you do not need a disk driver anymore. Regards to the second software, which is standalone software, I will show you briefly later on, how it looks like. This standalone software, you do not require installing Adobe Illustrator because it's basically design and cut software in one software. So you do not need any license unless license comes with those software. The SR3 came with a simple cut bundled. So simple cut comes with a disk. So you need to put that disk into the your disk driver to download to install, and it comes with a serial key in the package. So you can activate with a serial key. The new CGAR comes with a simple pop. The simple pop is a software which has the more the template design for making custom pop for the the market or retail store. So it has about 10,000 different the cutting template for depends on the shape you want for the pop. It's a free download serial key in the package. CGFX2 Plus, nothing else comes other than fine cut because it's only the professional usage for Adobe with Adobe Illustrator. Just telling you the limitation of this standalone software. You can't actually design the color inside. Like Adobe Illustrator, you are able to draw the stars and so on and put the colors. But in this software, you are not well. You can write down the you can draw the lines and the rectangles, those shape and so on. However, majority is you need to bring the bitmap file or JPEG file for the for something to print, and then you just manually write down what's the shape for the cut. So you can export to raster link for printing, and you can export directly to cutting Proto for cutting those purposes. So it's really simple, but then it has a very limited functionalities. For the software, the third one, which is the most simple one, which is a Windows Proto driver. It is capable for direct cut from Microsoft Office application. So which is only supported for CGAR series, and you can free download from website, and no license is requested. All right, the lastly, this is how much we invested for the the videos for supporting the customers. So one of our biggest problem, well, for customers, well, till last year, we don't have useful video available in YouTube or anywhere in order for customer to do a self-installation for CG-SR3 series. Well, CGFX2 Plus, of course, it's an assembly is required. It's a high-end cutter, so the customer normally pays us for $500 for half the installation training. But SR3, the installation for $500 is a big portion for customer. So customer would like to do everything by themselves, but then we didn't have a video available. So the 12 months before, we have created one video which is available on the website, which comes fast. If you do CG60SR3, you can find this video for 20 minutes, which supporting unboxing, setup, and start and tutorial for the fine cut operation and media set. Since CGAR3 is released, our headquarters has invested lots of time for the the video tutorials. So starting unboxing, assembly, and blade setup, media setup and test, fine cut setup operation, basic cut and print and cut operations. For craft packaging application, you've got a paper craft packaging, the optional setup, cutting table, plastic table, the pinch roller setup, packaging paper setup, and the cut and crease 2 layers, operations. And for software, we've got a simple pop installation, Windows driver installations. So I think that these videos are just enough for customer. If we start selling from next month, we've got those amount of the videos available for customer to start a production, assembling and production at their side. Sorry guys, I think it's important to talk about also the types of the blade. So I just got this in my display now. So basically we've got there 6 different blades, right? And I just tell you the things you should know about is first, we've got SPB 0030. This is a cutter for low pressure. This is a blade, comes with all cutting Proto we have. Even print and cut machine, CGV, UCGV, and all CG Protos, it comes with this. The reason we add this specific binary for low pressure is because people starting with the kiss cut for the adhesive layer cut, not a half cut or die cut. It making the the highest quality for the cutting adhesive layer. So that's the reason it comes with one. we've got a blade in SPB 0001, which is a carbide blade. The carbide blade is the same shape. Yeah, I think it's same shape as the 0030, but has a different coating on the knife. How it works is that if you are doing the more than 100 grams, more than 100 grams means if you start doing the half cut, the application, then you should start doing this, because if you keep doing a half cut function with 0030, the blade wears very quickly, but you can do the high durable. You can expect high durability with a 0001. So it's one or the other, depends on what you're doing. The other 4 blades depends on the application you are doing. SPB 0003 is cutting blade for small letters. So if you're cutting less than 5 millimeters of the size of the letters for sign display usage, use this, because the tip of the knife is the half size of this standard blade. So it works for the small letters with the same pressure setting. 0006, the cutter for reflective sheet. It has the very wider knife. So this basically works for the reflective sheet, which is the the very the hard and not like traffic signage. Traffic signage we have a different optional items, but this is more to the more prismatic effect reflective sheet from a 3M every on those people, because it has the another layer of the coating on the vinyl. Cutter for fluorescent sheet. Cutter for fluorescent sheet is kind of between carbide cutter and cutter for reflective sheet. So if you've got a little bit thicker, but it's still vinyl and it has no additional coating like reflective, you can expect the high durability with less cost of the than the 0006. The last one, cutter for thick rubber. I think that we've got a different number in your system, but this is what's used for the the cutting the sandblast, sandblast rubber. So look at this and how sharp it is. Like you need to set up the 450 grams, but you need to have a specific depth of the knife from the holder, and you need to have a specific speed, because it's cutting a rubber. So you cannot expect like a high speed cut like doing a FX for vinyl, but you need to be patient for cutting, for the depth surely.
On that one, Tomo-san, I think our rubber sheet blade is SPB 0005.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm not sure what that 0084 one is, because that even has an offset. It says on that container there of 0.25, or I believe our one has an offset of 0.75.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was going to ask this question to the headquarter. Yeah.
I think we're actually up to 8 blades in total now.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, we've got
because we have the
5 and the one for traffic, right?
Yeah, so we have like you've got there. We've got the 0001 for PVC papers, 0003 for small characters, a 0005 which is for rubber sheet, a 0006 for reflective sheet, a 0007 for fluoro. Then we also have the 0030, which is the standard blade that comes with all the machines. There obviously is the one for the EGP reflection kit.
Yes.
And then we have the 0092, which is the heavy duty paper blade for the AR series.
That's right. Yeah. If you include this triple, so 0084, then we've got the 9 series, right? The 9 types.
Yeah.
Looks like. Yeah, I'm not sure what this is. I probably need to look at for the differences between 0005 and.
I'm not sure if you remember the blade chart that I created not so long ago.
Yeah.
With there, so I'll update that and forward it on to everyone again. And just for your side of things too, Aman, I have stuck the blade chart information with pricing, all of that sort of thing on top of the UCJV, so it's permanently stuck there. So that can be your reference if anyone starts asking you about blades, what they're used for, what do they cost, how many.
All right, this is sorry. This is in Japanese word. I just bought this laptop this week, so I wasn't able to find out how to change the language yet. But let's just just to do simple thing with fine cut, right? So what we do is we just start with the cutting the star from fine cut. What we do is first draw the star as always. Then we change the color, do a color tool, and make it as the magenta yellow 100%, which is red. Doesn't look like red, but yeah, it is red, right? After that, basically, we just cutting the shape, through the fine cut. So this is where the fine cut, where to start fine cut. Go to window menu. Then select the Mimaki fine cut, right? In the Mimaki fine cut, you do the first initial setup. As soon as you install fine cut 9 and click first button, click any button, it starts asking you the serial key. If you want serial key, you can just enter the serial key from the box. If you don't have, you can create from a rastering fine cut 8 disk if you want, or do a trial. Trial works for 60 days. You say OK. Then select a Proto first. We want to do a CGFX2 plus. As long as you are already start a USB connection, you should be able to see the fine cut from a communication menu. I don't connect it yet, so let me just skip at this moment. And then make sure you do you change to remote in the cutting Proto, because cutting Proto, how that memory and driver works is you need to set up cutting Proto as remote before sending the job. Otherwise, the machine won't receive the data at all. So that's one of the big difference between the data control between the printer and cutting Proto. So once you set up the cutting Proto remote, do connection test. That way, it should come up with the correct as long as it's connected and talking to each other. After you set up, hit OK, then just simply select a job you want to cut, and then click on a cut. It has a always display saying, hey, it's gonna just detect center of the line as a cut line, which is fine. And it comes up like this. Right? You can do sizing, you can do position from this. And simply, if you're OK with the sizing, you can just hit plot. From here, you can set up a plot condition like a grams and so on, unless you'd like to change the gram and cutting condition setting from, well, most of the time, the people already set up the cutting pressure on the machine side. But if you'd like to override, you can set up the the select condition or custom, change the number of the grams and speed here. It always comes the computer side first for the cutting Proto case. So it will always override. So make sure that if you want a machine setup to use, just do Proto condition, don't override. And send the plot. So it will plot as long as machine is activated. In case if you do print and cut, for print and cut, you need to have a mark, which is a registration mark. Depends on how you are doing a cut between a printer and the cutting Proto. If you do just a crop mark cut, or if you are doing ID cut with crop, the method is totally different. I'm going to show you first one. If you do the simple crop mark cut, if you do the crop mark cut without ID cut, you need to add crop mark from fine cut, because there's no capability from rastering to send cut data to a cutting plotter directory. It can send cutting data to cut server for ID, but it won't send directly to cutting plotter. So for print and cut without ID, without a cutting server, you need to add a crop mark from fine cut. How to make a crop mark from a fine cut? You need to use a rectangle tool. Write down the rectangle which covers the size to cover the object. Click a little rectangle, click a little the mark button, click that. Then you choose a mark shape, you choose a mark size, mark thickness, and just say OK. That way it comes up with the mark in here, right? And you can just save as the EPS, put it in raster link and print from raster link without adding the mark again, because mark is already there. After you print it, go to a cutting plotter, detect the first mark, and then from fine cut, you just do same cut. For the crop cut, in addition to the standard operation, you need to do a register. You need to click register mark and detect the mark. So that way, it detects the mark in the software and it knows what's the shape in the within the mark. And then you can just go plot. And as soon as you send the plot, the software automatically sends the cutting plotter the automatic operation to find 4 pieces of ledger mark, 4 positions of the ledger mark. So that way, the machine will compensate the data depends on how how straight you put you install the media on, what's the shrinkage and expanding of the vinyl between print and cut. So it does the size compensation, compensation automatically. Let me now show you the quickly the software operation for a simple pop, which is a standalone software. All right, what it works is, let me just start from a template. All right, when you start the simple pop, it's basically print and cut for pop software. So you've got just lots of the simple design for the pop. So which already has some design and cutting line as well. So let's start from here. Non-smoking, it's okay. One moment. No smoking. Where's no smoking? Okay, no smoking. Just override. Then you've got the print data like this already. And you've got the cut data like this. So it's basically prints, inside of those, inside of this black line, and it's the no smoking entering, blah, blah, blah. And it basically cuts the outlines, the middle of black outlines, right? If you want to just cut, this individual also, what you can do is in a cut layer, you can just add the, object like this, where you want to cut. Just do copy and paste. So that way you can just cut whenever you want. Only the limitation is, those, the object in the print layer, you can only add text and those simple shape. Also, you can bring the your artwork. You can bring the artwork from website like a JPEG, bitmap, and so on to make a simple sticker by yourself. And you don't need the illustrator to to write down the lines and so on. After you design, well, if you want to change the design of this, you can just delete those things, and you can just add the your original something like that. And after that, for you doing the rastering print and cut, what you need is you still need the rastering. So you can skip Adobe Illustrator, but you still need rastering to print with. So click rastering button. So you can just save this file, the print and cut file, into the hot folder, right? And then it's gonna open automatically in the rastering for printing. If you do a print and cut with RegioMark, you need to add RegioMark in the rastering. So that way you can do print and cut with the the machine. In case if you are only cutting from here, you can click cut from here, and you are connecting cutting Proto via the Ethernet or USB. It appears as the printer to print. So you need to pre-install the USB driver and Windows driver in order to cut through, in order to only cut from simple pop software.